Hey, it's Don. All things paranormal.
Hey, we're kind of working around some stuff here, trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, get that out of the way. So anyway, we're working on trying to get the webcam back up for the doll.
So
we
apologize.
24-hour doll cam.
We apologize for the quick jump around, whatever.
Jump into it.
So it's going to be a little different show tonight. For starters, we're not going to talk about cow flatulence.
No, we're gonna stay away from that. We're gonna be discussing some of the history of paranormal and things like that. So it might be a little long.
Long?
Yeah.
Man.
Long-winded, maybe.
Oh, maybe long-winded.
Long stories. But anyway, we want to remind you we have a tentative plan, a Bigfoot hunt. Potential. The weekend of March 28th.
Yeah, whatever that weekend is.
It'll be from like a Friday to a Sunday type thing. We're gonna try to see if we can't get a Bigfoot. Now I did some research on that the other day. There is still $1 million bounty. Can y'all imagine how much cameras we would be able to buy?
Woo!
So we can go out and go do some more Bigfoot hunting. I wonder if you bring in a limit. If you bring in 3 Bigfoot, if they'll give you, $3 million.
Got to. I mean, one for each person.
One for each. I mean, that would set us up good.
That's right.
Now, we don't advocate going around shooting Bigfoot.
Do not shoot Bigfoot.
Don't go shooting Bigfoot, because we'd like to have some pictures of them.
We just want definitive proof. Maybe a finger.
Yeah, something like that. Something we can do some DNA testing.
Yeah.
That brings up the things. If you are a Bigfoot, if you're a vampire, if you are ghost, psychic, whatever, any type of thing, paranormal, alien, if you feel you have alien blood in you, as we discussed on the last show that we had, green eyes. If you got some green eyes, maybe you got a little alien in you and you know it. Come on down to the show and let us talk to you.
Yeah, we'll get up there. Man, we'd be glad to get you on the show. And if you go out ghost hunting yourself and you send us the videos, we will hook you up.
And you catch something, hey, we got swag for you.
That's right.
The bigger the evidence, the bigger the swag.
All right. Commercial. Hey, this is Don, All Things Paranormal. Hey, check out our e-store at allthingsparanormaltx.com. We got shirts, hats, and cups. Give us a holler if you want one. All Things Paranormal. Hey, this is Don, All Things. And
we're back. So anyway, all right, this is going to be over history of pretty much paranormal stuff, how it all kind of started. If you want to get right down to it, the hunting for ghosts and stuff like that, and psychics and mediums and stuff, that is something that's just not been going on just in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that's just been here. I mean, that's been a while for all that.
It really started around, let me see here, it says circa. Anyway, it started around 1620 to 1781, within that time period of what they call the Age of Enlightenment. Now, what happens with the Age of Enlightenment is people started thinking outside the box.
Hey, just a second. Hey, if anybody's watching, let us know how the volume is. See if it's cool.
We got bad volume?
No, I just want to make sure it's good.
Okay. So anyway, it started kind of with the Age of Enlightenment, where you had a lot of open thinking. Now, you said, well, not a lot really happened back in 1620 to 1781. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to start with, So, that's not too bad there. So anyway, there just wasn't really a whole lot of stuff to work with and a whole lot of free time. Because let's think about it. People was mainly looking for groceries. You had your cities and stuff, and electricity wasn't flowing around. You had to have, gas for everything, wood burning stoves, but they started thinking outside the box around that days. So anyway, and this guy by the name of Emanuel Swedenborg, he was a scientist, and as far as scientists goes back in them days, and he come out and said, "Hey, look, because all the stuff I come out, scientific reasons why of how I come up with this stuff is through some type of astral projection visions." Now, you know, if you're a ufologist, it would, you know.
I mean, we don't have a good word for it. We just make it up.
We just make it up. So anyway, you know, this is G.W. Bush here. So anyway, so if you're a ufologist, then you can say, hey, look, you know, he was being taught from or passed information on from people from like aliens type to it. You know, because he started coming out with some really good types of scientific things, evidence.
Cool.
And also he had, as far as doing some type of telepathic projections or visions. So what he would say is, well, man, I've seen this information coming from over here in this particular spot.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, and that was, and he come out in person back then. Now, you know, you had a bunch of different things happening back in them days. It wasn't too far off from people calling scientists witches and stuff like that. Especially when you start dealing, because, you know, in 1743, it was still pretty scientific evidence and scientific things, chemistry and whatnot, was still pretty much considered some type of a witchcraft. Now this is after the witch trials and stuff like that, but it was pretty close in those days. So anyway, now the actual first group of people that come out and says, all right, we are paranormal investigators.
It ain't us.
It's not us. No,
we're close.
We're close, but
we're not it.
But anyway, this happened a long time ago. This happened back in 1883.
Ooh, I know it ain't us then.
Oh, I know it. It's back in it was for this over in England, the Society for Physical Paranormal Research. The actual first name that come out of it was the National Association of Spiritualists. So anyway, what happened? Yes, sir?
No,
okay.
Wait, no.
So anyway, these were people, well-known scientists. Actually, let me throw out some names of people that belong to it. You had a physicist by the name of Sir William Crookes.
So he was a ripoff?
No.
No.
You had a physicist by the name of Sir Oliver Lodge. You had a Nobel Prize winner. This Nobel Prize winner cloned the phrase ectoplasm back then.
Man. Ectoplasm went all the way back then?
Back then, oh, yes, it did. Okay. So anyway, this particular group of scientists and stuff was working on and doing testing of different mediums and different types of astral projections and things like that. And so they were the first actual group to come out. Now you had later.
Sometimes it's kind of difficult to take it and read your own writing.
Well, you know, when I started off with this, I started going one way, and then I switched over to another thing. Anyway, you had some different kinds of things, and then we can zoom on up here to the 20th century. We had a psychic researcher by the name of Harry Prince. He actually wrote Confessions of a Ghost Hunter back in 1936. He did some other books too, back in 1922, Confessions of a Spirit and Medium. So he had a bunch of confessions. But anyway,
did he actually find anything, or just say?
Well, he did a bunch of testing and stuff like that on his books. On what was interesting, he would actually go in. Here, I'll tell you what. On this Society for Physical Research, I kind of passed this up. Let me show you some of those. No. This is for the this is for Society of Physical Research or National Association of Spiritualists. These guys are still in business today. All right. So what happens? This right here is one of the first looks at what they used for ghost hunting. Let me show you a picture.
Now that's the stuff you see, the steel camera, and then you see what's all that other stuff over there?
You got some micrometers.
Yeah, micrometers. I guess
you got different types of things. A recording, some type of recording device for sound and stuff like that. Some type of noise device. Now this right there, that is the first look that I could ever found of an actual ghost hunting kit. Now, so people was kind of taking stuff different or serious. Now you take a look at that camera. That camera is like, the old style cameras. Now that's not the one that they used back in 19.
That ain't no Polaroid there.
That's not used in the 1883 mark. That was used years and years later, whenever they started developing that kind of stuff. But that's some of the first earliest equipment that they have. We're not talking walking around with dowsing rods here.
Yeah.
We talk about somebody trying to get
scientifically trying
to catch a ghost on a camera, on a photograph, and some type of a recording or some type of like an earliest EVP sessions. So anyway, we go over to Edmund Rogers. Let's talk about this society also. It started out with a guy named Edmund Rogers and William Barrett holding a conference back in 1882. Now, with this conference, it was one of the first things that they did, and of people getting together and say, hey, let's talk about this spiritual and medium type stuff. And some people look down on them, but these are actual name brand people and actual scientists and stuff like that that recognize that, hey, look, science can't come across the answers for everything. So we're going to have to look in a different direction. So they held that conference, and they're the ones that really ended up starting that whole group over in England back then.
And it's still going on today.
And it's still active today.
Yeah. So, a lot of the problems that they have with some of the newer people is the bickering inside the group that just shreds it apart.
Now while he's talking about that, we can bring it on out there, and let's just say that you have. I've been to several conferences. Don's been to several conferences, and when you start talking about paranormal stuff to somebody, especially these people that's throwing all these books out there and stuff like that, they really don't want to dish out any kind of information or any kind of help. They'd rather you buy their book, and then you still don't get half the information that you want.
Yeah. Now we will throw this out there. If you start up your own group or whatever, give us a holler.
Give us a holler.
We'll be glad to help out. And main thing is, you might be able to help us out.
That's right.
So
yeah, I can tell you right now, I have donated equipment to groups that's starting up. Some of our old stuff, I've passed it down. Because let me tell you something. When you have nothing, a little bit of something works.
That's right.
It works good. We're not in competition for nobody.
That's right.
We're all in
for the truth.
We're in it for the truth. Other groups are in it for competition, trying to get notoriety and stuff like that. We don't care. We don't care about notoriety.
No, we
want the truth. We want to find out what's there. We want a Bigfoot. We want stuff like that to see.
That's the reason why I always say send us your videos and stuff. Because and we'll put it on there and say you got it.
And sometimes, as hard as it is for us, we still go by the motto. We will believe you.
That's right.
No matter how odd and weird it is, we will believe you. We might think, dang, but we'll still believe it. Hey, you experienced something. We'll believe it.
Hey, we're gonna give a big shout out, man. We got John Hayes. Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday, John.
Yeah, so we want to give that big out there too. So, and then everybody else that's watching, man, Viviana, we appreciate it. But Charles, we appreciate it. Everybody watching, Brandy, she had a birthday here not long ago. So, hey, also, man, send us your birthday wishes.
We'll throw it out there too. Yeah. All right. Now, what happened that's really started spreading paranormal stuff out to where it's making it more and more norm? Now you think, you see all these shows right now on TV, and you think, man, there's a lot of stuff. Well, a long time ago, this stuff just really wasn't out there, and so you just started catching little pieces of it. So let's start off around 1920s. You started having movies.
That's right.
Now, some of the first movies of different things of paranormal is good. Let's throw this one out here. Let's go number 2. Everybody knows what that is.
Everybody knows who this is. Who is that, John?
That's Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
So anyway, that's one of the earliest movies of a vampire. Now, it's taken from the book from Bram Stoker's, kind of an adaptation, because they wouldn't sell the Shelleys wouldn't sell the right for it to actually make a movie for it, so they made their own. We just went.
No, it's on my phone. We're still on. But I want to tell you right now, though, on a black and white movie, I scared the drawers off of you.
Back then,
it was something else.
You didn't have movies.
Yeah.
And you seeing something flashing up on the wall, that's something new, very strange. And then so you start stepping out and you go, man, we got all different kinds of stuff going on. And then you start having the newspapers and stuff like that. Back in the 50s, it started putting the 59s and 60s. Also, you had Roswell thrown out there on the newspapers. That was another big medium coming through.
Yeah.
Where you had Roswell alien crash, where you had the Patterson sighting for your Bigfoot, and then you started putting stuff like that out there, and it's gradually taking a chip off the big wall of the taboo factor.
That's right. And now it's almost like it's normal.
Yeah.
Nobody, you get, man, what do you do? I'm a paranormal investigator. Nobody sits up there and walks away laughing. They get up there and, man, I had this one time.
Yeah. And I can't tell you the number of times we visited with somebody and they or their member of their family had something weird that's happened. So it's not a taboo thing like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
people didn't want anybody to know anything about it. If they had a problem, they didn't, man, don't put my name out there. Don't put my house. Hey, we respect that stuff, but now, it's like the norm, man. It's almost like it's a cool thing. So if you got a ghost, hey, come on, let's party down with it.
So around at the Roswell, just right after Roswell, and right around the time of the Patterson sightings, you started having a show that actually popped up on TV, and this was on ABC, and it ran from 1959 to 1961. And it's called One Step Beyond. Now
who was that? Who was over there?
Okay, John Newland. And it was hosted by John Newland. Now, what it was is more of a kind of a docu show, to where it'd take like a actual event that somebody had claimed an actual event that say, hey, yeah, and they recreated his actual show. So you have some name brand actors in there, such as William Shatner, and I can't think of a few other ones up there. Now this is kind of interesting. This is back here. The show was only on about 3 years, 59, 60, and 61, and it did 96 episodes. If you want to think about it now, when you have a show that does a season, they do 10 episodes a season.
If that.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them's only 6.
So in these 3 years, they did 96 episodes of different things going on. And for a show to last for 3 years at that particular time, if it wasn't, something like Bonanza that went on for 30 years, then shows really only lasted that 3 to 4 year mark. And then they switched over to something else, almost kind of like what Netflix does today. They do like 2 or 3 series, and they have an X amount of time that we're going to run these shows, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They don't want to oversaturate with anything.
Yeah, they don't have like 15 seasons of Supernatural.
So anyway, so then you started throwing out some good movies out there. You had your B movies and stuff that was more of a scary, haunted type thing. Well, this one right here was a show that really thrown out there that really just scared the bejesus out of people, and it was based. It's not actual happened on the show, but it's kind of based off of it. Was let's see which. Then you had The Exorcist.
Back in the 70s.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Now, from the 73, it was. So in 1973, you had the Exorcist had come out, and everybody started thinking, up until that time, it really put, I guess, the devil in the limelight on the show.
Yeah, you didn't have what is that? Exorcisms on films. I mean,
No.
he didn't have anything like that. I
No.
mean, it was just something that just went.
Man versus pure evil.
Yeah.
If you go back to some of the old shows, you'd have like Vincent Price running around and, you know, somebody trying to stake him or something like that, or he's over here staking somebody.
Maybe the Mummy.
You know, it's
something.
more, yeah, or the Mummy or whatever. No, that was Lon Chaney. But
Yeah.
Junior. But anyway, they had different, you know, that was just more or less of a movie. They put this out there as more of a real thing.
Yeah,
And then,
matter of fact, you had people going to church and they've never been to church ever.
that's right.
Yeah.
And then you had 1979, you had the Amityville Horror. They threw that out there. And you could take a look. This is starting getting more and more to normal, to actual movies
Like
based
lifelike
on
events. Yeah.
lifelike events. In '88, you had The Serpent and the Rainbow. We're talking about voodoo and zombies. And then during this whole time, you started putting out stuff and kind of desensitizing people. And you have to think, man, now why did they throw this out there for the headlines? But it really and truly desensitized people to paranormal things.
Yeah.
And it was, we got to show it.
We got to show it.
Because it's really cool as to what it was.
And there it is.
Bigfoot died.
Yeah. The Weekly World News.
The Weekly World News.
Now, everybody in the world got up there and read the Weekly World News.
Now, you know what that is? That is the Inquirer.
That's like a headline.
That's the headline from the Inquirer. And you also got this one right here.
That's right.
Hillary Clinton adopted an alien baby.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you think, man, what kind of crap was that sitting on TV or in publications? Well,
but who got up there and bought that stuff? I know as a kid, and I'm sure you as a kid, when we was checking out at the checkout line,
At the checkout
we was
line.
reading stuff like that.
somebody bought that magazine.
That's right. If not, you read it while it was on the shelf.
And you know, you take some of that right there, and even if it's just a smidgen of truth, it's, you know, it's like, hey, there's aliens running around. We can believe that. And it desensitized the people to the things that's going on.
And people bought it just because, you know, hey man, this could be true. You know, you talk about we will believe you. I mean, there it is. You know, right there.
And then you wanted to get the kids involved into these things.
That's right.
So you ended up doing this right here.
That's right. So now you see the progression as we went from older people and scary stuff. Now we're coming into a cartoon. And, you know, they're out looking for the ghost.
It turns out it wasn't really a ghost in the end of the show, but it was something spooky that the kids were getting involved
That's
with.
right.
And it ended up in the people like us.
That's right. You know, I mean, it went from something that was taboo to now you have a cartoon about it. And it's just, and there's all kinds of shows out now. You got what, Taps or Ghost Hunters or whatever.
So anyway,
International, everything else.
in 1977, you had this other show that come out that, in fact, I bought the whole series, and because a lot of it's cool as heck. And it's hosted by Leonard Nimoy, and it's called In Search Of. Let's go to this one right here. Oh, wait.
Oh, we didn't have the In Search Of.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
But anyway, In Search Of. And so anyway, you had a ton of episodes of it, and he covered everything in this book, in this thing from In Search Of. And you had a name brand person, Leonard Nimoy, Captain Spock, or Science Officer Spock. I think he ended up Captain Spock and later on into things. But anyway, he featured certain different people, and one of the primary, they call him the father of ghost hunting, or the father of the paranormal, was in his show on some of them. He wrote over 120 books, and this is Mr. Hans Holzer.
And there he is. Drum roll, please.
The man that did ghost hunting and paranormal events
Like nobody's business.
like nobody's business. He did things from the Amityville Horror. He did stuff from I can't think of different other things that he had done, but that's the first one that comes off from the he wrote the Amityville Horror. He wrote over 120 books of paranormal things, and from that right there brought up ghost hunting as a actual ghost hunting thing. And from there he was still going on for a long time. And then the biggest thing that changed things over in the 1980s, guess what happened? Cable.
Yeah, and it just went worldwide.
It went worldwide. Now they had cable back in the 1940 something, but we're talking about actual people putting cables in their house.
That's affordable.
That is affordable in the 80s.
They can watch different shows, different places.
You went from more than just 3 channels up to 50 different channels, and shows just started rebounding. You could have so many channels that you started having reruns of different things, from Scooby-Doo to the In Search Of to the stuff like that, and it brings us all the way up to big shows like Ghost Hunters that started in October 6th of 2004, and then you had a real big jump that the Devil's Getting Everybody from Paranormal Activity in 2007. Heck, we even started back around 2000.
Yeah, well, like 99, 2000.
Yeah.
I think me and you. Though,
We were, whenever we was out ghost hunting, we had the old Pentax camera. While we had a Pentax, because it took that little cartridge you drop in there, and you didn't have to load it, so we could go through all those things fast.
Yeah.
A regular tape recorder.
Yeah.
Graduated on up to like the high.
Man, I tell you what, we thought we was something else, and we got us a webcam. We can actually tie it
to a computer.
Yeah.
We did one. I think we did a port one time using a webcam, because that was it. That was bad to the bone. Along with the microphone.
We thought that was the thing.
But anyway, so that brings us up till today.
And that's some of the history. Now, if we forgot anybody, we don't mean to get up there and offend anybody, but
no.
Because it's a big subject. So now what we're looking at now is that, okay, we talked about the history. Now the next thing is we can talk about our future.
Yeah.
That's gonna have to probably be another show.
That's gonna have to be another show.
Yeah.
Because it looks like we have run out of time.
Oh man, we only got like a minute left.
A minute left.
Do you think we can just sit there and stare at the camera for a minute? Nah, y'all wouldn't want that.
No. All right. Anyway, it's John.
Hey, this is Don.
All Things Paranormal.